Think about that moment you consider buying a luxury watch, the craftsmanship, the heritage, the statement it makes.
Mm-hmm.
But behind that allure lies a staggering problem. An estimated 40 million fake luxury watches flood the market every year.
40 million. Wow.
Yeah, siphoning off around $1 billion in illicit profits. It's a massive undercurrent in a world of prestige.
It really is.
And that's precisely what we're diving into today.
Exactly. And, for our listeners, people who want to grasp complex issues quickly and thoroughly, we're offering this deep dive into the threat of counterfeit luxury watches and a fascinating potential way to combat them.
Okay.
We'll explore the real impact of these fakes and unpack an innovative solution. Hoken Tech's Trust Watch.
Just watch. Got it.
And our conversation today is built on some pretty compelling material we have here, excerpts from a document called Testo in Kaleido, which provides a solid foundation for understanding this challenge.
Okay, so let's get right to it then. The sheer scale of the financial hit to the legitimate luxury watch market, it's almost unbelievable.
It truly is. I mean, just consider this. The Swiss watchmaking industry alone,
Yeah.
they're estimated to lose about 2 billion Swiss francs annually.
2 billion just from missed sales.
Just from sales they don't make because of these fakes.
Yeah.
And it's not just a guess,
Right.
An OECD report, that's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they do a lot of research on global economic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They specifically identified watchmaking as the hardest hit sector for counterfeit Swiss goods.
Okay.
Again, with those annual losses hovering around that 2 billion Swiss franc mark.
Wow.
What's really striking is how consistently these significant financial damages pop up across different sources.
But it's not just the big brands taking the hit, is it? I mean, this must have a much wider reach into the economy.
Oh, absolutely. If you look back at, say, 2018, the global trade in counterfeit goods violating Swiss intellectual property rights.
Yeah.
It hit a massive 7 billion Swiss francs.
7 billion globally.
Globally, yeah. And to put that in perspective, that's about 2.3% of all authentic Swiss exports.
That's huge.
It is. Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this illegal activity led to an estimated 4.5 billion Swiss francs in reduced legitimate sales.
So money just not going where it should.
Exactly. Think about what that means. Less money flowing into the economy, and it even impacts things like government revenue.
Like taxes.
Precisely. In fact, the Swiss government saw a loss of around 160 million francs in tax revenue that year.
Ouch.
And perhaps most concerningly, it's estimated that over 10,000 jobs were lost in Switzerland.
10,000 jobs.
Yeah, that's about 1.7% of their entire manufacturing workforce. Just gone.
Wow, those numbers really bring home the gravity of the situation. It's not just about protecting some luxury brand image.
No, not at all.
It's about real jobs, real economic stability.
Exactly.
Now, what about the person, the consumer, who might unknowingly buy one of these fakes? What are the consequences for them?
Yeah. Well, the impact on consumers is also quite significant, actually. There was some consumer research in the UK.
Yeah.
It revealed that a huge 76% of people would be less likely to purchase from a brand if they knew it was heavily associated with counterfeited goods.
76%. That's a massive reputational risk.
Huge. And furthermore, if someone unknowingly buys a fake, a staggering 66% said they would lose trust in the brand entirely.
I believe it. You'd feel completely cheated.
Right. And 34% would be less inclined to buy from the official website in the future, understandably wary of, running into more fakes. It's a real erosion of consumer confidence.
That makes perfect sense. It's like you feel cheated and you're just going to be much more cautious going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the damage to the brands themselves, it must go beyond just the lost sales figure, wouldn't you say?
Undeniably. The damage to a brand's reputation is complex. Counterfeits are often produced using, frankly, far inferior materials,
Sure.
which can create a negative perception of the quality standards of the genuine products, in consumers' minds.
Yeah, it dilutes the whole idea of quality.
Exactly. And there are also significant ethical issues surrounding the labor practices involved in making counterfeit goods.
Ah, yeah, the conditions they're made under.
Right, which can seriously tarnish a luxury brand's carefully cultivated image. Moreover, the very essence of luxury exclusivity and trust, it's undermined when fake versions become widespread.
It loses that specialness.
Completely. And it's important to remember that this illicit trade often feeds into a larger shadow economy, potentially linked to other illegal activities.
So it fuels other crime, too.
Potentially, yeah, which further damages the overall standing of the market.
So it sounds like the people making these fakes,
Hmm.
they're getting really good at it,
Oh, absolutely.
which is a big reason why this problem is so persistent. It's
Yeah.
not just about those cheap, obviously fake watches you might see on a street corner anymore, is it?
No, you've hit on a critical development there. Counterfeiting techniques have advanced incredibly. We're now seeing the emergence of what are often called super fakes.
Super fakes.
Yeah. These aren't just vaguely similar, they can replicate the genuine article in astonishing detail,
Wow.
making it incredibly challenging to distinguish them, even for, like, experienced collectors.
So even experts can be fooled sometimes.
It's getting harder and harder. And this leap in quality is fueled by, well, a couple things. The growth of online marketplaces.
Right, easier to sell anonymously.
Exactly. They provide a relatively anonymous and easily accessible platform for these illicit goods, and also significant progress in production technologies.
Like manufacturing tech.
Yeah, that allows counterfeiters to replicate intricate designs and details with increasing precision. It's almost like they have access to very sophisticated manufacturing processes themselves.
It's almost as if they're taking a real watch apart and just figuring out exactly how to copy it.
That's pretty much the process, yeah.
Right.
They often acquire authentic watches, meticulously analyze their construction, identify and source materials that can be very similar, or at least look very similar, to the originals, and then utilize advanced machinery to assemble these highly sophisticated replicas.
So the combination of easy online selling and these advanced copying skills, it means legitimate brands have to constantly be playing catch up, right?
Absolutely. They have to constantly evolve their protection strategies just to try and keep pace. It's an ongoing battle.
Which leads to the big question for someone looking to buy a luxury watch, maybe secondhand especially.
Right.
How can you even tell if it's genuine?
Yeah.
What are the traditional things people should look for?
Traditionally, there are several telltale signs that can indicate a counterfeit. Often it boils down to a difference in the overall quality.
Okay.
Fake watches tend to be made with lower grade materials, and they often lack the fine precision and, the long-term durability of authentic timepieces.
Makes sense.
You might also notice imperfections in the finishing details, things like uneven polishing, maybe misaligned markers on the dial, or kind of sloppy paintwork.
Little giveaways.
Little giveaways, yeah. Issues with the internal workings, the watch movement itself.
How smoothly it runs.
Exactly. The quality of the case construction, the clarity and detail of the dial, and even subtle inconsistencies in the applied logos and engravings can all be red flags.
But as we've discussed, the range in the quality of these fakes is huge now.
It really is.
You've got the really obvious ones, the cheap knockoffs,
Right.
and then you've got these super fakes that require a much more trained eye to spot.
Exactly. While a very crude, low-quality copy might be relatively easy to identify due to obvious flaws, these super fakes present a much, much greater challenge.
So visual checks might not be enough.
Often they're not. They often replicate the visual aspects so accurately that visual inspection alone may not cut it. However, even in these high-quality fakes, there are often subtle clues if you know what to look for.
Like what?
Well, when you're examining a watch, pay very close attention to the quality of the materials used. Genuine luxury watches use very high-grade metals, precious stones, sapphire crystal.
Top-tier stuff.
Right. Fakes will often use cheaper alternatives that might look similar at first glance, but they won't have the same feel, the same weight, or the same longevity.
Okay. Feel and weight. What else?
The precision of engravings is also critical. Logos, serial numbers, any other markings on an authentic watch should be incredibly sharp, precisely placed, and perfectly consistent.
Super precise.
Super precise. Any blurriness, unevenness, or inconsistencies, that should raise suspicion immediately.
And the way the watch movement operates, you mentioned that,
Yeah,
especially for mechanical watches, right?
absolutely crucial. In authentic mechanical watches, the movement should operate smoothly, precisely. Often it has a distinct, high-quality sound, like a very rapid ticking.
Like a tiny engine.
Kind of, yeah. In counterfeit mechanical watches, the movement might be irregular, it might feel rough or gritty when you're winding it, or it might even be noticeably noisy, like a cheaper ticking sound. Even the weight, as I mentioned, can sometimes be a clue.
Because the real materials are denser.
Exactly. Authentic luxury watches tend to have a certain heft due to the density of the high-quality materials used in their construction, but
But the fakes are getting better at mimicking that, too.
they are. As counterfeiting techniques become more advanced, relying solely on these visual and tactile cues becomes increasingly unreliable.
Right.
often necessitating the expertise of a professional or, the application of specialized technology.
So moving beyond just the physical examination of the watch itself,
Hmm.
the accompanying paperwork and documentation become absolutely vital, right?
Oh, completely vital.
For establishing its authenticity. It's about proving its history, its legitimate origins.
Precisely. Documentation and what's known as provenance. Essentially, the documented history of ownership and authenticity are absolutely critical.
Outcomes, okay.
Yeah. Key documents you should be looking for include the official certificate of authenticity issued by the manufacturer,
The official paper.
the official paper confirming it's genuine. The original warranty papers are also important as they indicate it was purchased through authorized channels.
Shows the original sale.
Exactly. The original boxes and packaging, complete with all the correct brand logos, model numbers, other specific details, that should also be present.
Don't throw away the box.
Definitely not. And of course, the original purchase invoice from an authorized dealer is a very significant piece of the puzzle. It provides a clear record of that initial legitimate sale.
And if any of those crucial pieces of documentation are missing, that should immediately be a major red flag.
Without a doubt, a huge red flag. The absence of complete and verifiable documentation should always be treated with extreme caution.
Okay.
Reputable authorized dealers and established auction houses that deal in luxury watches, they fully understand the importance of provenance.
They have to.
They have to. And they will invariably guarantee the authenticity of the timepieces they sell, providing comprehensive documentation to support that guarantee.
Right.
And the significance of this is further underscored by initiatives like Rolex's Certified Pre-Owned program.
Ah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So even when you're purchasing a pre-owned Rolex through this program, they provide their own certificate of authenticity and a new warranty.
So they stand behind it, even secondhand.
Exactly. They're effectively vouching for the watch's legitimacy, even in the secondary market.
This really highlights the growing challenges in confidently verifying authenticity, especially for, regular buyers,
It does.
which naturally leads us to exploring more innovative solutions.
Mm.
And that brings us to Hoken Tech's Trust Watch, which sounds like a really fascinating and potentially game-changing approach.
It certainly does. TrustWatch is a system developed by Hoken Tech that harnesses the power of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology,
AI and blockchain. Okay.
specifically for the purpose of authenticating luxury watches. And what's particularly noteworthy is their reported accuracy rate of 96.2%.
Wow, 96.2%. That's high.
It's very high. It's designed to be a reliable and, crucially, a relatively easily accessible authentication service that operates just through image analysis.
Just from a picture.
Pretty much. Aiming to equip buyers with a powerful tool to differentiate genuine luxury watches from the ever-improving imitations.
Okay.
Their primary goals are, well, to establish a trusted platform for both collectors and potential buyers, and also to cultivate a really engaged community centered around authentic timepieces.
So let's delve into the mechanics of it.
Mm-hmm.
How does this TrustWatch system actually work? What are the key features, the technologies that enable it to hit that impressive accuracy rate?
Right. So TrustWatch incorporates several cutting-edge features. At its core is a highly sophisticated artificial intelligence system.
The AI part.
Exactly. These aren't just basic algorithms. We're talking about advanced AI algorithms that have undergone extensive training using a vast data set.
Okay.
Containing countless images of both authentic and counterfeit luxury watches. This deep learning process is what underpins its claimed 96.2% accuracy.
So it's learned what to look for.
It's learned what to look for, down to the micro details. And from the user's perspective, it's designed to be remarkably user-friendly.
Easy to use.
Yeah, you simply use their mobile app to capture a clear image of the watch you want to authenticate.
Just snap a photo.
Just snap a photo. The app even guides you on how to take the best possible photograph, typically recommending a well-lit, focused shot of the watch face that includes the entire bezel.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward, something anyone with a smartphone could probably manage.
That's the idea.
And I imagine it supports a wide range of luxury watch brands. Or is it limited?
No, it supports quite a few. Numerous prominent luxury watch brands, including major players like Rolex, Richard Mille, IWC, Omega, Patek Philippe,
Big names.
the big names, and their database is continuously expanding. They currently handle authentication for 7 distinct brands and over 400 specific watch models within those brands.
400 models already.
Yeah, and furthermore, the system is designed for continuous learning and improvement.
So it gets smarter over time.
Exactly. This is absolutely vital in this ongoing battle against counterfeiting. Because as the counterfeiters' techniques evolve,
Which they always do.
which they always do, and they create new, more deceptive fakes, the AI system adapts over time, constantly refining its accuracy and staying ahead of the latest imitation methods.
Okay, so a user uploads a photo of their watch through the app. What happens next? How does TrustWatch actually go about determining, genuine or fake?
Right. So the verification process involves a very sophisticated analysis of that uploaded image. The system focuses on identifying minute details and patterns within the image.
Tiny details.
Tiny details like the precise shape and placement of logos, the specific font used for serial numbers and other markings, the intricate design characteristics of the case, the dial, the hands.
Things you wouldn't notice consciously?
Almost certainly not. It utilizes what are known as convolutional neural networks, or CNNs.
CNNs, okay.
Think of CNNs as a type of AI that's particularly good at analyzing images for patterns, very much like how our own eyes and brains work to recognize objects.
Image recognition AI.
Exactly. These CNNs are trained to detect even the slightest anomalies or discrepancies that might indicate a counterfeit.
Okay.
This detailed image analysis is then followed by a comparison against TrustWatch's extensive and constantly growing database.
The library of known watches.
Precisely. This database contains a vast number of meticulously curated images of both authentic and known counterfeit watches that Hoken Tech has collected and organized.
Right.
By comparing the uploaded image to this comprehensive library, the system can identify subtle differences and inconsistencies that might be virtually imperceptible to the human eye.
Even on a really good fake.
Even on a super fake.
Yeah.
Finally, based on this analysis and comparison, the system generates an authenticity score.
A score.
Yeah, typically presented on a scale from 0 to 1. A score that's very close to 1 indicates a very high probability of authenticity.
And close to 0 means likely fake.
Exactly, providing the user with a clear and quantifiable assessment of their watch's legitimacy.
That's truly impressive. So, with this level of accuracy, 96%, and the ease of use of a mobile app, what kind of impact is TrustWatch starting to have on the broader luxury watch market and maybe even more importantly, on consumer confidence?
Well, TrustWatch is indeed starting to make a tangible impact. Its high reported accuracy rate provides a powerful and, importantly, readily available tool in this fight against fake watches.
Right.
Given that the luxury watch industry suffers billions, literally billions of dollars in losses annually due to counterfeiting.
Those numbers we talked about earlier.
Exactly. A system like this has the potential to significantly curb those financial losses over time.
Makes sense.
Furthermore, as more and more stakeholders within the industry, individual collectors, retailers, even authorized repair labs begin to adopt and integrate TrustWatch.
So getting buy-in from different players.
Right. It effectively creates a much wider and more robust verification network. This makes it increasingly difficult for counterfeit watches to just circulate and be sold without detection.
Harder for the fakes to slip through.
Exactly. And for consumers, the ability to quickly and easily verify a watch's authenticity before they make a purchase.
Especially online or secondhand.
Particularly in the often less regulated secondary market. Yeah. It significantly reduces their risk of unknowingly buying a fake.
And that directly addresses that crucial issue of eroded consumer trust that we discussed earlier, doesn't it?
Precisely. We noted that, 66% of consumers who unfortunately purchase counterfeit goods report losing trust in the brand.
Yeah, huge number.
By offering a reliable and easily accessible authentication system like TrustWatch, we can see how it plays a vital role in rebuilding and boosting consumer confidence in the luxury watch market.
It gives power back to the buyer.
It really does. The app essentially empowers individuals to take greater control over their purchasing decisions, providing them with enhanced peace of mind. This increased confidence not only benefits the consumers themselves, but also strengthens their trust in retailers and platforms that actively use TrustWatch to authenticate their inventory.
It signals they're serious about authenticity.
Exactly. It shows their commitment to selling genuine products. Ultimately, in a market where reputation, heritage, and exclusivity are so incredibly important.
Paramount, really.
Absolutely. This strengthened consumer confidence is essential for maintaining the long-term value and prestige of luxury watches.
This has been a truly fascinating deep dive into, well, a really significant problem and a very promising, innovative solution.
Is quite something.
So just to quickly recap for our listeners, we've explored the immense scale of the counterfeit luxury watch market, the staggering billions in financial losses,
Mm.
the significant damage it inflicts on both brands and consumer trust, and uh, the increasingly sophisticated methods used by counterfeiters.
The super
The
fakes.
super fakes, yeah. We've also discussed the inherent limitations of traditional methods for spotting a fake and highlighted the critical importance of proper documentation and provenance.
Absolutely key.
And finally, we took a close look at Hoken Tech's Trust Watch, this AI-powered system boasting that very high accuracy rate, 96.2%, in authenticating these highly sought-after items.
That's an excellent and comprehensive summary of our discussion.
Yeah. The level of accuracy that TrustWatch seems to have achieved really does represent a significant step forward
It feels like it.
in the ongoing effort to combat this widespread issue.
Absolutely. And it really does make you think about the bigger picture, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Considering the relentless and ever-increasing sophistication of counterfeiting techniques, not just for watches, but across all sorts of high-value goods.
Right. Handbags, art, electronics.
Exactly. What fundamental role will technology ultimately play in safeguarding authenticity across the entire spectrum of luxury goods markets in the years to come?
That is a compelling question.
It's definitely something to consider.